While Frank was recording the material on the first disc of this set, I was being born. Yes, coming into the world while Frank was creating Giraffe. Hey, welcome back everybody. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to take a quick detour from my top 10 list to talk about a release I think I finally got a chance to thoroughly enjoy over and over again. Another amazing Zappa Family Trust release. This one is called The Mother's 1970. I'm going to tell you briefly what's in it, and I'm going to highly recommend it because I highly recommend it. So since Frank has passed away, the Zappa Family Trust has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job of releasing stuff from his catalog. There's essentially been 3, maybe 4 different types of releases. There have been like rehearsal tapes from tour rehearsals. There have been live shows, complete live shows in their entirety. There have been like box sets that have not necessarily complete shows, but have shows from only one venue. So like the 78 Hammersmith Odeon, which is from I think 5 different shows, maybe 6 different shows played at the same venue on the same tour. So even though it's not one show, it's sequenced in a way to make it feel like a show. There have also been releases that are pretty much what this one is, which is like a band over the course of its 6-month period, and pretty much as much stuff as possible representing that band. So this is from the Mother 70, which was a group that was together from about June, middle of June, all the way to the middle of December 1970. It consisted of George Duke and Jeff Simmons, Duke on keyboard, Simmons on bass, both of whom would leave the band after this, and they would eventually come back, and George Duke would be with Zappa for a long time. Simmons would come back for the Mother's 10th anniversary tour in '74. He would be in that band. On bass, that was Jeff Simmons on bass. You had Flo and Eddie. This was their first outing, the Turtles. You have Ian Underwood is still around, playing keys and amazing saxophone solos. And then you have the incomparable Ainsley Dunbar on drums, who is probably, I don't know, we're not going to get into Zappa's best drummers, but Ainsley Dunbar is a beast. Check out the Grand Wazoo for proof of that, or listen to this for proof of that. But anyways, this is a 4-disc set. It has 1 disc of studio stuff. Then there's 2 discs that are almost complete shows, but not complete shows. Frank recorded these shows himself, so due to the limitations of recording, he doesn't have a lot of complete shows, but he has like 45-minute increments. So discs 2 and 3 are sequenced to feel like a complete show, even though they're both consisting of 2 separate shows put together. And then the 4th disc is miscellaneous live stuff from, you know, of various shows throughout that time. It is one of those things that if you're brand new to Frank, this may be a little overwhelming to jump into, though discs 2, 3, and 4 are phenomenal, and I think you'll find a lot of music in there that you'll absolutely love. There are Pound for a Browns with extensive solos, Duke solos, Underwood solos, amazing Frank solos. There are several King Kongs in here that also have lots of solos. Also, King Kong in this time would be, they'd play King Kong, like the head, the theme, there'd be a solo. They'd go back into King Kong, and then they'd play Igor's Boogie before going back into King Kong, and then back into more solos. So that's pretty fun to hear. So the live stuff is pretty phenomenal. The sound's pretty good. I mean, these are shows that are at this point 50 years old. The vocals kind of go in and out sometimes, and sometimes the mix is a little wonky, where like a saxophone will be maybe way too loud or the keyboards are way too loud. But overall, I think it balances out and it's completely listenable. I don't think it in any way hurts the music. But there are 4 tracks on here that I want to mention particularly, and I want to praise the Zappa Family Trust for including these tracks on this release. So this was one of those bands that the only official output they had was Chunga's Revenge. This band didn't do a lot of new material live, and so Chunga's Revenge was kind of their only sort of officially released Zappa canon output. And then in recent years, there was a show that was released earlier from them on the Road Tape series. It's a pretty good show. But this box set has 4 tracks that for the hardcore Zappa fans are must-hears. So the first one is, there were rumors for years that this band had done a song called Giraffe. Nobody really knew what it was. There is a bootleg floating out there that is a really, really, really bad quality sounding Giraffe, but enough so you can hear what it is. It's sort of a Stravinsky-esque, one of his Stravinsky-esque pieces, one of those more difficult, percussion heavy, something that he really didn't seem to do much of with this band, but apparently in the studio he did, because we have Giraffe, which starts off with these, this sort of theme, Stravinsky-esque theme, then a drum solo as always, and then a whole bunch of weird, different parts and pieces that seem like they're written, but maybe improv. Like it's an amazing 8-minute journey over the course of this song. That's the first special release. The second special release is, rumor had it that Frank had written a song about the Holocaust. That's on here. It's the second song in the entire box set, Lola Stepansky. Not a lot of lyrics, but they are referencing the Holocaust, obviously. And this is another one of those weird Stravinsky-esque sort of numbers, a written composition that's difficult to play. The third thing on here is there is an early version of Envelopes. That song was not released until Drowning Witch in '82, and then in later releases we found out that it was played by the '78 band with Tommy Mars actually singing vocals on it. It was pretty much almost like a Tommy Mars solo piece. He would sing and then go off and have a quick little solo thing, and then there'd always be a drum solo. There is a drum solo on this Envelopes also. This is a much calmer version of Envelopes. It's definitely not as dramatic and sort of forceful as it would be later. Mostly just piano. Sounds like it's an Ian Underwood piece, possibly. And then the big thing, at least for me, this is a sort of a dilemma, a mystery that's been lurking since 1988. So in 1988, Frank released the You Can't Do That on Stage series. And the very first track of all 12 of these discs is called the Florida Airport Tape. And it's an audio recording. Frank had a tape recorder, and he would tape all the conversations of all of his band members. And this recording, they're sitting in the Florida airport, and you can hear Howie from Flo and Eddie say, "I was in the middle of singing Easy Meat or something." And that alone set off like, what? This band did Easy Meat? Like, we had no idea that they were doing Easy Meat. That did not come out until Tinseltown Rebellion. And then in later releases, you found that it actually started earlier than that. The fall 78 band started doing it. Well, now, on this release, we have an official, what Zappa Family Trust claims is the very first performance of Easy Meat live. And it pretty much sounds like the fall 78 version, but it's good. It's got a great guitar solo, it's fun, it's hard rocking. It's an awesome track. So those 4 things alone make this completely worthwhile for the hardcore Zappa fan. But for anybody else really looking to kind of delve in, there's a lot to delve into. The first disc is probably hit and miss more than anything. There's a couple good guitar solos, a couple good studio jams, 3 versions of Wonderful Wino, a version of Charlena. The second 2 discs are amazing, live concerts with a lot of old Mother songs. And then the 4th disc is also a lot of live stuff, but there's a lot of really amazing jams, including something called Guitar Build, which sounds like it might have come from a Holiday in Berlin solo. You can kind of hear Inca Roads a little bit in that riff. So I think that comes from a Holiday in Berlin from this era, but the jams on that 4th disc are phenomenal. But anyways, if you really, really want to get in deep with some early Mothers, I highly recommend this box set. If anybody out there from the Zappa Family Trust is listening, or you know somebody, tell them thank you, thank you, thank you. They have been doing a phenomenal job releasing stuff, and here's to them keeping it up. Thank you very much for this box set. But anyways, I'd like to know what you think of this box if you check it out. I'd like to know what you think of the early Mothers. Just, comment below about how you feel about this band, about these solos, about anything in particular. Love to hear back from you. But that's all I got for today, man. Music is the best. Spread the love. Frank Zappa. Have a good day, y'all.